One of the most common questions I get asked is, what's the best way to learn chords on the piano? Now, when people ask me that question, they're not asking, how do I figure out what notes are in a C major chord? They want to know how to make chords instinctive, so deeply bedded in that if you come across, say, a C major chord in a chord progression, your fingers just land on it. So what I usually say to people is, look, find 2 or 3 songs that you really like in a couple of different keys and figure out how the chords work and repeat those songs over and over. Just play through and through and through, maybe singing to yourself, maybe hearing the tune in your head or whatever. So that's a good way, but you can make it even better. And the way to make it even better is by playing along with recordings. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because it sounds simple, but a lot of people try playing along with the recordings and give up very quickly because it seems difficult. There are a couple of hurdles you need to overcome to start with, and a lot of people think, oh, this is really hard work, I'll just go back to working with the lead sheet or the songbook or the chord progression or whatever. And that's a tragedy, because if you do play along with other people's recordings, that is like chord learning on stilts. That's when your skill really develops, and you also develop a whole range of other musical skills that are super useful. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to go through a process which makes playing along with recordings really, really work for you. We're going to talk about how to get over those hurdles and make it a bit easier. Now, you can use any technology. You can play along with songs on Spotify, on YouTube, Apple Music. You can get your granny's cassette recorder out of the attic and try that, But we're going to be using an app called Quartet. It's actually one of 4 apps. It's for iPhone and iPad. And I love it. You won't be surprised to hear that the guys behind Quartet are sponsoring me to make this video, but I only make sponsored videos. As you all know, if you're a regular on the channel, I only make sponsored videos for products that I think are brilliant. And I've absolutely fallen head over heels in love with Quartet. I'm literally using it every day. It makes it all so much easier. You're not sort of racing backwards and forwards to the play button and the rewind button like you would be doing if you were using YouTube or Spotify. It contains a whole bunch of songs. I'm going to pick this one, key of C minor, 60 beats a minute, nice and slow, really important to start slow to start with, in the style of Angel Eyes, that jazz classic. Here we go. So what we have here is the chord progression. And the very first thing we're going to do, here's the first part of our process, is learn those chords reasonably well before we start playing along. And then we're not going to get lost, or we're going to get less lost, and we'll recover more quickly when we start playing along. Now, there are a few ways you can do that. You might know some of the chords already. You could look them up online. Quartet, if you click the piano button down here, if you tap that, has got a really handy tool which will show you some voicings and inversions of the chords. Absolutely brilliant. If you want to, you could even follow that while the music's playing. But the first thing we're going to do is work out the chords. So most of them are quite straightforward, things like C minor. And what you would do is just work out a couple of basic positions to start with. So you might figure out C minor in that voicing and that voicing. Don't hold a pencil in your hand while you're doing it, please. That's just my bad habit while I'm explaining. Things like then, other stuff, D7, G7, quite simple. We've got 1 or 2 things in there that are a little bit more complicated, but don't worry about them, like A7, sharp 9, sharp 5 is something like that. Well, that is A7, sharp 9, sharp 5. That's what it looks like in the wild, but you can get away there just with playing a straight A7 chord. Play around with that if you want to. But if you just want to use A7, that will function, to use the technical term, exactly the same way. 1 or 2 other slightly more complicated ones, D minor 7 flat 5, G7 flat 9. Again, you can use the piano function in Quartet to work out what those are. You can use online lookup tools, you can use a book of chords, whatever you want to do. The first stage is to learn those chords reasonably well, just a couple of positions each, And then what we're going to try doing is playing through. So I'm going to go into Quartet settings. I'm going to make sure that I've got a count in. This is one of the hidden, things that you don't appreciate when you try just playing along with Spotify or whatever. You don't get a count in. You have to press play and then start playing straight away. Here, I'm going to give myself a count in of 1 bar, 1 measure. The other thing we're going to do is select our configuration of instruments. Now, Quartet literally uses a quartet of musicians, and you can have all 4 if you want: piano, drums, bass and sax. But we've already got a piano player here. It's me. So the piano player in Quartet is going to be removed and sent off to the bar for a virtual point. And the way I'm going to do that is just come down here and select the sax bass drums, and I can start playing. If I wanted to change the key, I could go up or down a few semitones using the key function. If I wanted to slow it down or speed it up, I can do that using the tempo function, but 60 beats a minute is fine. Let's start playing. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm back at the start, and then here we go. Here's my counting. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Here comes the sax. This is where it gets really satisfying. Slightly cooler voicing there. Okay, and that's just the end of the first A section, so let's pause there. As you can hear, I played really simple versions of the chords. You know, just for a little bit of fun, I dropped in the sharp ninth on that A chord there. Whoa, crunchy. But you can get away there with playing very simple versions of the chords, and that's what I would do to start with. Literally, just start off by doing that. And it's really worth investing some time in choosing the right material to work on. Yeah, if you're really new to playing along, I would literally start with just one song. And even if you're mainly interested in playing pop or folk or whatever, try jazz to start with for a couple of reasons. First of all, there are literally thousands of jazz standards to choose from. And also, they have a greater diversity and richness of chords than most pop songs or folk songs, yeah? So you're going to see more chords quicker working on jazz than you know, in any other style of popular music. So, you know, check a songbook or whatever. If you happen to be using Quartet, then, you know, this is just Quartet 1, and you know, there are dozens there to choose from. So it'll just make it more efficient to choose something that you think is going to really appeal to you. So do that, and gradually, as you play repeated versions of the song, if you go through it time and time again, gradually expand the chords that you're using. Experiment, see what works and what doesn't. The beauty of doing it slowly is that if you get lost or make a mistake, it's dead easy to catch up again. If you picked a song that went a lot faster, not only have you got faster chord changes, but if you get lost, you fall further behind quicker, okay? That's the beauty of doing something slow to start with, and the beauty of Quartet, because even if 60 BPM is too fast for you, as it might be to start with, and that's fine, you can slow it down to 50 or even 40. If you want to check out Quartet, it's great value. It's available, like I said, there are 4 apps, each one with different songs in. It's available as bundles. There's more stuff on the Quartet website, and you'll find out more on the App Store as well. All the links you need are down below. I've also written an article, kind of a review of Quartet over on my Patreon at patreon.com/Bill Hilton. That review is not behind any kind of paywall, so whether you're a Patreon member, Patreon supporter, or you're just kind of browsing, you can check out that review. Look for it in the text down below. Brilliant. Happy playing. Let me know how you get on in the comments.